So, welcome. Yes, I think this is a new participant. So, yesterday, I started a session on three. Good afternoon as well to you. Yesterday, I started a session on how to go into business in the agricultural sector that can earn you between 30 to 50% on annual revenue as a business. And today is day two. And I'm going to give a brief about yesterday. And yesterday, the brief was that buying of land was the brief for yesterday. Buying farmlands, not city land, farmlands. They are cheap, and if strategically purchased, you could get within 5 years 200 to 250 to even 500 return on investment by just buying farmlands. And you have to be strategic about it because it depends on your goal. If your goal is to hold the land for a long time, right? Currently, right now, I'm not allowing people in the video so as to ensure that the content is fast and direct. We have only 45 minutes to talk. So I think Bayo is requesting it to be in the video. It's not today. I'll do a video where I can bring people in. And I am, Ola said you're just participating. Yeah, you're actually new. No problem. What you're going to gain from today is how to create businesses in the agricultural sector, whether or not you're busy where you are, right? You could be in any sector right now. You could be working anywhere right now. What I'm proposing does not necessarily mean you have to dump what you do. It's just supposed to be an additional layer to how you get structural wealth, and then you build income that would serve you in these trying times. And forget that the fact that Nigeria right now, things are a bit shaky. It's not going to die down in a while because of the indices had gone wrong for a while. But you can live above it by having good businesses. So that is what today is all about. So yesterday I touched about the first point, one of the three overlooked business in the agricultural sector, which is farmland purchase. Not buying city land, buying farmland. Strategically buying it in selected locations where if purchased very well, could mean a lot of money for you. And I gave an example yesterday. I'm from Nigeria because I had some people participated that were not from Nigeria. But Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is one of the most busy expressway in the whole country. And in the late 1990s, early 2000, a man I met in a program purchased so much acreage of land, hundreds and thousands of acreage of land on that road at different points. And his testimony was that when he was going to start selling them back, he was able to earn over 2,000 with return on investment on some of the lands he purchased. And then, but now he bought it around 20,000, 50,000 per acre back then, 10,000 per acre, depending on the prices. And when he was going to start selling it, some of them went for as high as 100 million per acre, depending on the size that they were present in. And that was his own gain. All he just did was he strategically bought farmland in the early 2000s, a lot of them. It's still working right now. It has not stopped. So you can get that. I'm not yet to tell you what land to buy. Of course, the company I lead or I co-founded, of course, we sell land. But that's not. I've not announced that since yesterday because that's not the goal. The goal is about you that is listening to this call right now. The goal is about you that is listening to this call right now, and for you to be able to understand the secrets in it. As we are using that secret as a business. But it's not limited to one person, right? Anybody, anywhere could use it. And I said that even those in other African countries, this applies to them. It's not only to Nigerians. It doesn't apply to only Nigerians. It applies to almost every African country, right? You buy farmland, you strategically hold it for 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You add value to it and you resell it, and you're starting to get a revenue. It's a very, very guaranteed sure and store of wealth. So, and that is what I've advised yesterday. Today, I'm touching a different point. The second overlooked agribusiness that a lot of people could be doing, but are not necessarily doing them. They kept them to chance, and that is not good enough. Now, today, right? What I'm going to talk about is a bit more service inclined as opposed to yesterday that is quite more passive, right? This one is not as passive as yesterday. It is quite very, very important. And what is today's own take? It is the product of buying and selling. You see, everybody buy things every day. You buy thoughts, you buy imagination, you buy structures, you buy different things every day. right? People sell to you on the streets, while you're at the office, while you're at home. People are constantly selling to you. Is that they're selling ideologies to you, they're selling mindset to you, or they're selling products to you. So everybody in reality is only in the act of buying and selling something. So a business that is most overlooked in the agricultural sector is that concept of buying and selling as it relates to the sector. You don't have to quit your current job to be part of that model. You don't have to quit what you're doing right now to be part of that system. All you need to do is look at what your circle needs. You see, the whole concept of building wealth comes from you being able to meet needs. There's nobody that is wealthy today that is not meeting a form of need today. Everybody that is wealthy is meeting one need or the other. You see, in the multitude of problems lies opportunity, right? In the midst of this opportunity lies the wealth you need so much of, right? So everybody that is building a wealthy system, or that is going to be wealthy, is actually meeting a need. Oh, Enoch, it's nice seeing you, right? So everybody that is building wealth is answering a need, is meeting a need somewhere. You have to meet a need to be wealthy as well. Even to have that additional source of income, you need to meet a certain kind of need. And buying and selling is you meeting a certain kind of need. So you have a circle of friends that they have difficulty going about getting their underwears, and you are confident about that because probably you guys relate on a more personal level. So in such instances, what you do is simple. You become their go-to person, right? You offer them that alone. I have a friend that does socks business. Before I met him, I didn't know that was a model. I know it's a D2C model, or D2C means direct to consumer model or direct to customer model. It's something that you use in selling household items, simple items, brush, how will I call it? Toothpaste, not even toothpaste alone. Those ones are still quite franchised. Brush, comb, wig. The new fashion industry that is rising in Nigeria right now that they sew for you is more of a direct customer model. They don't have any middlemen in the middle. It's straight from the owner of the stuff or the seller straight to customer. There's no in between. So I know that direct consumer model works and it exists, but for socks, I don't even know that was possible. I feel like Nigeria's problem were bigger than socks initially. But then, once I started hearing the numbers that my friend was doing, and I was like, wow, you were selling out, literally selling out, right? And that is the truth, right? He saw a need. He knows those that have that need, and he met that need. And it sounds very, very small or inconsequential, but he was able to make his money from the process. You see, that is what you do. Buying and selling in the agriculture sector is no different. So as a lady right now, you have other ladies that are very busy but can't do their groceries themselves. You step in the middle, you start helping them to rotate that grocery. So you know when you go to the market, maybe once a week or twice a week, you get your stuff in bulk. But then why don't you call your friends together? Hey, let's assume in Kechi, you like going to the market. Say you don't know how to buy groceries very well, right? And let's join together and buy wholesale, and then we divide it, and then you get your copy. Or you meet your friend that is a male instead. You know, men usually have difficulty staying in the market and going through. I have a lot of friends that just order in their groceries most of the time. I would have loved to take that business model up from them, but even myself, I don't have so much time going to the market myself. So you could just call that friend of yours, maybe Michael or something, and you say, oh, Michael, I know you have difficulty going to the market. Do you mind I just add your grocery list to mine, and then you offer that service? And the next thing, I might ask you, what's the need for you? Maybe want you to do it for free, but you must resist that urge to do things for free, right? It doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to be consistent, right? So even if you don't want to charge so much, put a little coin on it, right? Maybe 100 naira, 20 naira, 5 naira, 1,000 naira. Make sure that there is a value for it. And that why I'm saying is because you're trying to build a business. That's what you're trying to do, build a business, not be a Father Christmas or Mother Christmas or Mother Teresa or whatever the case is. You want to build an active business gradually. You're not in the East, but you want to be consistent. So, of course, you can reach out to Mike, reach out to Nkechi, reach out to Blessing and tell them that, oh, let's buy this thing together. I had a basket of tomatoes. It's being sold at 18,000 naira or 20,000 naira. And I can't do that alone. What will I be doing with 20,000 worth of tomatoes? Or what will I bring with 22,000 worth of pepper? Well, so let's buy it together, right? And so four of you come together, you buy it, right? But then you have to charge something, right? Because what you want to buy, you're gonna go through stress, you're gonna go through certain issues, and after you're done, you still have to package and send it to them. Those are a lot of things that your time has to account for. You could charge 1,000 naira on the products from each of them, and at the end of the day, you've already made 3,000 naira, and you do that only on weekends or on Fridays. Now, why I'm saying this is because it's an overlooked business model, right? And if that is what it is, one, you would reduce the number of middlemen in the agriculture sector. The main reason why most of the food you eat is very expensive is middlemen, right? By you going to that business, right, you would boycott the middlemen and buy directly from wholesalers, and then your own additional price would not be so high because you've cut several retail middlemen. Just replace almost 3 or 4 retail middlemen with yourself alone, and then you get sent to your friend directly, and you're getting it at a cheaper price. Your friend is getting at a more affordable price than what he or she would have purchased it from a nearby seller in his own environment. And then you're solving challenges, and the way you would naturally pack it and send to your friend would be much more hygienic than what it would have been the case in the open market, right? So that's an overlooked business that I'm going to be focusing on today, and I'm going to look at several ways you can go into the buying and selling system, right? You could buy and process products and sell. You could buy raw material, process it yourself, and sell. There are many things you can do in the buying and selling that doesn't necessarily mean you have to quit your job. You see, the goal is a business that can earn you 30-50% return on investment on an annual basis. And yesterday I tried explaining what the concept of that statement means. It means that if, for example, you invest 1 million naira or $1 million in a business in the first year, when you aim for a business that generates 30-50% return on investment on an annual basis, what you're trying to say is you are expecting at the end of the year, your revenue is going to total at 300 to 500,000 every year, right? And if you keep that number up, it means within 3 to 5 years, you've not just broken even, but then you're already making a good net profit from that business. And that is the only way you can keep a sustainable business out there, right? In Nigeria, in European countries, right? Any business that can give you 10% of your, or like 10% of your business capital in the first year, right, is a fairly good and super stable business. Not stable per se. I think it's less than 5% is stable, but 10% is a good. It might be risky, but it's a great business, and that is how the European system is working because they like it steady and consistent as opposed to risky and much. Which in the African setting here, we like the opposites. It has to be risky and high, right? We don't want the risk, but want it to be high. But then it can't be high without the risk factor. So, and that is something that is there. But in the real sense, astronomical businesses like in the tech world are businesses that actually build high return on investment on an annual basis. And that's why I realize that a lot of investors invest their hard-earned cash or and their millions of dollars into tech businesses because they have capacity to generate crazy return. See, no investor, venture capitalists would invest into you if they don't think that in the next 5 years, your business could be 2,000 more than it is right now, or 500 more than it is right now, or even 100 more than it is right now. That is what they look out for. So when you sit down in front of investors and pitch, or when you stand in front of them in some instances and pitch, what they are looking at in your business is, can this business generate that number for me? Can this business achieve times 10 of its current value in 2 years, 3 years? Can it be able to exit at times 20 of its value today, right? That is what every investor is looking at when they are listening to you pitch your idea, pitch your business, right? And it's not different from the system that general public want to see. You see, having a business that generates 50% return on investments yearly for you means that in 5 years' time, that business will have generated nothing less than 250% return on investment. That means your business capital, you've earned it 2.5 times over in 5 years' time, right? And one thing about expansion and growth is you optimize the challenges that did not make it more than that. You reduce the cost of operation so you can booster your net revenue, right? And before you know, if all things are well, you could take it from just 50% return annually to almost 100% return annually. It's one of the things that made Dangote a very great company is the fact that they've known how to widen their margin, their profit margin on their business activities. is not different from you. And when I'm talking about the agricultural sector right now, it is equally possible. It's just step by step. You see, I've been in this sector for 8 years, and I've listened to a lot of people talk about different businesses in agriculture. I've watched them try to convince people to come into agriculture, but then most of the informations are not properly arranged for people to listen to. There's a lot of focus on plant A, plant B, start this livestock, start that livestock. But these things are just the products. What makes this business successful is not just the products. It's the strategy and the processes that comes behind these products, right? And that is what I am teaching you right now. That strategy and processes, right? What you need to know beyond just starting that and starting this. Because after, if you don't know them and you're going to start anything, it's going to nosedive downwards, and you don't want that to happen to your business. So now, I said that another business to consider today is buying and selling. So I started an example with direct consumer model businesses like socks, right? Like buying underwear for your friends. Now I moved to things like mainstay vegetables like tomatoes, even pepper, and that's main spices. Now you buy that in group with your friends and you sell it to them, right? I was also with a friend a couple of while back that also buys special fruits that are not so common to the public. He buys them from a faraway distance, he rearranges them, and then he shares them to friends, right? And he doesn't do it for the profits, but then all his friends are able to get exotic fruits through his network, and all he does is share it to them. It's a business model, right? In your house, there's something you can choose to sell, right? It could be snail. Snail is not so popular a dish, right? You could buy it from places where they have it in bulk. You could buy it as much as maybe 1,000 pieces, 500 pieces from there, and get at a great discount. And then you aggregate 4 or 5 of your friends that you move it to them. How about you buy the snail, you smoke it, and then you send it to them, both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. You see, you don't have to be limited to Nigeria alone. A lot of people in the diasporans need trustworthy people to buy products in Nigeria and send to them, right? And this is something that is working across all countries. It's not just only Nigeria, right? In other African countries, you can do what I'm saying. You buy at wholesale points, and then you bring it home, you decentralize it to sell it to your friends and network. Be a business. I was saying something yesterday. I said, if everybody goes into business, right, it will still not be enough. Because at some points in Africa, at some points in Nigeria, trade by barter was the means of business. And everybody had something to sell. Everybody had something to trade in for something else. And we never had that there were too much trading happening at the same time. Instead, you trade what you have or what you can get to get better values. And so it means that if everybody has a business today, it won't still be too much, right? So the business work you're doing right now does not stop you from engaging this buying and selling. You just need to know what products you can literally engage. Not all products will work for you. There's a product that if you pick them up right now, they are so time consuming, so cost inclined that it might require that you leave the current job you're doing. And that's not what I'm preaching today. I'm actually preaching that you go into things that will not necessarily make you quit where you are. The idea is so you can increase your revenue, not take away the one that is steady. And that is what I'm currently communicating with us right now. So you pick something you can buy and sell. It's different thing from pepper to tomatoes to condiments to special dishes to livestock processing to snacking. There are different things you can buy, add value, and sell. That would be much more easy. See, if you can solve people's pain points, they are willing to give you their money. And that's the truth. Anywhere, anytime. If you can solve people's pain points, they are more than willing to give you their money without initially begging so hard. So you promise them that you're going to help them deliver a certain item that if they would have gotten themselves, they would have to take a whole lot of transport from where they are to where they are, burning time, burning efforts. And this is much more a problem for those that live in the city. By trying to just take away that pain and that time consumption from their hand, they are willing to give you their hard-earned cash in return for that product, in return for that service. So as a business individual, your duty is to look into how you can solve that. As I said, don't feel bad about going to buy and selling. Some people have not entered that business because of shame. And I'm going to point it out that except you lose your shame, you will never be successful. look at this comedy skit makers, right? Let's touch the skit makers. Most of them do the silliest thing you can imagine, the most silliest thing, right? When we're growing up, right, Africa is largely a patriarchy system. Of course, many countries in the world are a large chunk of patriarch system, right? Where the men are, everything comes from the men and then it trickles down. Authority, power, influence, everything comes from the men and it trickles down. Why the women are left to succumb to the wills of the men. Well, the world is already diverting from a patriarch system to a more balanced and equity system, right? But then it's still something that happened in Africa. So when a man starts doing things that are quite silly, right? It is perceived as a man lacks shame, right? It lacks shame. A man should be responsible, dedicated, and all. That is the mindset that had been in the system for a while. But then that is not what we are seeing. With comedy skit makers, the men are even the most proficient skit makers. But for them to get to that point, they literally have to lose their shame. They have to dump that shameful thoughts, that shameful mind, or that appearance of shame that keeps them bound. And when they unleash that part of themselves, you see them thriving, right? And people start laughing, right? And one thing is, anything that you do that makes people happy, that takes away their pain, people would always gravitate towards it. And that is the truth. You touch people's pain, you reduce it, people will gravitate towards you. And so before you know, skit makers are accumulating so much follower base and they're getting so much endorsements, partnership, and business coming their way, right? So even you as well, that you're scared and feeling a bit of shame going to buying and selling. What would they say? I'm buying and selling A. I will be insulted. I will be looked down upon. I will be neglected. Whatever it is that thought that is in your head is all about. The truth is, until you lose your shame, you most likely wouldn't become successful. Until you're ready to receive a lot of dissing and a lot of looking down upon from the market, you may not just succeed at a business. So don't put on that front of shame and thinking that someone is looking at you because you're selling. Don't be scared of what you do. Showcase it. Except you're working in a place where the policy requires that you don't post what you do. But if the policy does not say you should not post what you do, then please post away, right? Post all that you do. Put it there as much as possible. Let them see what you stand for. And don't worry that in the first 1 week, nobody sees anything about what you're posting. Don't stop at that. Continue. You see, the race is not to someone that run the best in the first 5 minutes or 5 seconds. No, the race is who holds the speed consistently from the beginning down to the finish line, right? Whoever does that is who wins the prize. We should not deceive ourselves. That is the truth. So it's only those that can actually sustain the speed that they commence the whole race with to the end is who wins the prize. You don't win it by starting and then dumping halfway. That is not how it works. So even with this whole business model I'm explaining, you can't start after 1 week and say, oh, nobody's responding to me, nobody's saying anything, nobody's communicating, everybody's just ignoring what I'm doing. Keep doing it. Eventually, they would have what you do as a need one day, and they would remember that, I saw that Michael actually sells these things. Oh, it does sell them. Oh, let me check him up. Oh, hi Michael, how are you doing? I'm fine. How are you doing? I'm fine. It's been a while, or it's been a minute. Oh yeah. What's up? What's going on with you? And the next thing the person says is, do you still sell that thing? What's that thing? I mean the clipper for to stop. You still sell it? Yeah, I do. How many do you need? I need 2. I need 3. Oh, okay. I'll push you the invoice, and then before you know, he pays Michael for that product, and then he sells it. But then it was not that day that Michael left an impression with that friend of his. That was not the day. Michael left an impression consistently posting what he or she is doing over time, and that was how Michael left an impression with that person. So sometimes you need to post a whole month, 2 months, 3 months consistently to be recognized for that thing that you do. So what are you doing about that? You see, you don't stop halfway, you get to the end, and that is how you go buying and selling. A lot of people have benefited from this thing consciously and unconsciously, and I'm serious. If some of you think about it, when you were in the university or you were in the school, you did buying and selling. But then you didn't put so much effort into it. And what you don't put effort in is something some people are branded into a business. give a business name to it, registration, open an account for it, put a structure and processes to it, and make into a multi-billion-dollar industry. But now I'm saying start from somewhere, right? I'm saying start from somewhere. Except you do, there are no changes for you. So you want to expand your wealth base, learn to buy and sell something, service, idea, whatever. I'm focusing on the agricultural sector, but I told you yesterday, for those that were present, that it doesn't have to be in the agricultural sector. These minds are generic, right? I've only localized them to the agricultural sector. Sell something, right? In agriculture, I've told you could sell vegetables. You could sell, for what about a bag of rice, for example, right? Look at rice in Nigeria. It's Nigeria's number one staple food, all right? Staple food. And you could buy just one bag, right? You can't finish one bag, but it's cheaper buying it in a bag size, maybe 37,000, 40,000 naira. Then you call on your friends, guy, let's divide this thing. I take a quarter, it takes a quarter, and then divide by 4 places, right? And then all of a sudden, 10,000 per person. And then you're all getting 12.5 kg. But then I would promise you that 12.5 kg at the moment in the market is around 12 to 13,000 naira, right? That is the value of 12.5 kg. Most they say it's 10 kg and they say that's 11,000 naira. I know this because we have a business in the food value chain. So by you just dividing it with your team, you are saving yourself 2 to 3,000 naira extra, and you're getting more value than even what you would have gotten if you buy it yourself. So you see that you're gaining. That is that one. What about beans? Beans is known to be cheapest in January, February. Those are the period, December, January, February. Those are the cheapest month for beans. Buy it with your friends, put it in your house, store it up. There are so much things you could be doing, right? Now, forget even the product I was talking about. What about agricultural services? Right? So yesterday I said that you could buy a lot of farmlands and hold your wealth with it over time. Now that's just one thing. The second part is, why don't you even sell it for your friend? So your friend actually purchased 100 acres of farmland in a strategically located rural region, right? And after buying all of that, well, he felt like, okay, after 4 years, I want to sell this land back to the public, right? But instead of selling it at 100 acres back to someone, I want to divide it into 10. I want to sell 10 acres to people, right? And I've added value to it. There's a structure, there's a survey, there's a layout on that land, A, B, C, and that. All the values added to it, because everything you do on that land to expand the outlook is a value. Now, I want to sell it. Let's say you bought it at, the 100 acres you bought it at, say, 10 million naira, right? And now you want to sell 10 acres for 2 million or 4 million naira per one, right? Which is not so bad. It means you're selling 1 acre for 400,000. It's not so bad. It's okay. So after you sell that 4 million naira each per one, after 3 or 4 years time, then you at the end of the day, you get 40 million for buying a land of 10 million naira. But then for the person that actually help you co-sell it to their audience, right? Then you give the person, say, like maybe 5 million. So at the end of the day, you've only made 25 million naira profit, and that person made 5 million naira profit, or the group of people that help you sell it made 5 million naira profit. Now, at the end of the day, what you've gotten is 15 million more than your capital, right? At the end of the day, 25 million more than your capital, and that is more than 250. That's about 250% or more. Just holding the land for 3 to 4 years, right? Which is literally possible. And I kid you not, it's literally possible. Because, as I said, we have a business model in that space. And that is how it works. So basically, you can sell your friends' products, their land. You can sell the land for them. They choose to want to sell something. You okay, what with my cut? Always negotiate with people like that. If someone selling anything, then you trust the genuinity of what that person is selling. You trust that the person is selling the right thing. Then you chat the person up. Hi, how are you doing? I'm fine. I want to advertise what you do. If I do and I get a client for you, what's my cut? Don't be scared to ask that. Negotiate it out. Your status and your social profiles are something you've taken time to build. You've invested so much energy keeping your audience entertained. On Instagram with your face, on LinkedIn with your mind, on Twitter with your concepts, right? On Facebook with both your concept and your face, right? Now, you've done that for, God knows, maybe some of you 5 years, 2 years, 10 years. I don't know how long you've been on the social media platforms. But then you've taken time to keep them glued to you. Even on your WhatsApp profile, you've been giving them statuses time to time. It could be comedy you've been giving them. But you've invested so much in keeping them glued to you as your audience. Now, you want to now sell a concept to them. Don't be scared to negotiate how much you would get should that person convert for them. And then okay, I'm going to get 5% on the sales. Yes, okay, let's do 2.5%, let's do 3%. Then you negotiate, and then you post it. If anyone buys from a platform, great, no problem. If no one buys, nonetheless, you've not killed anybody, right? It was just, you just tried something out. Then you could try several products and see what your customers are more in tune with, but don't just do everything, right? I think that's another thing I need to warn us about. Don't do everything. Jack of all trades doesn't create the best outcome. Always do something that is commendable, right? Or something that you greatly agree with, a concept that you don't mind being identified with. You see, a lot of us go into businesses that we don't believe in, right? And that's why we get tired, right? We go into services that we don't trust, and we get tired of those things. That is not what you want to do. You want to go into a business that doesn't get you tired, and that you're always excited to see more about, and you can help people see the opportunities that lies in them. And that is what you want to do. So I think I've been able to give a very broad view and a very, very dedicated talk on how to go into buying and selling, the mindset you need to have, and the concept you need to put on the table to achieve success in buying and selling, whether it's an agricultural product or otherwise. Of course, this Instagram live is 45 minutes daily. So it's almost 45 minutes. And I want you to ask your questions, should you have any. What concept about buying and selling do you want a more explanation on? Is there a process in buying and selling that's always is elusive to you, that you want explanation on it? You can drop that in the in-call messages. There is add a comment section there. You could ask your question there regarding buying and selling. What's the biggest challenge you have about going into buying and selling? Have you gone into buying and selling before? Let me know so you can tell me what the experience is, right? You're going to buying and selling, tell me in the comment messages. Let me see that. It's very, very important. And if you've not gone into it before, are you scared of going into it? Or are you looking forward to going into it? Right? It's very, very important. This year, particularly if you're in Nigeria, please have another sustainable source of income. And I'm talking about those that already have an income stream. For those that don't have an income stream, much more, you have nothing to lose. Get into it. Find your room and parlor in it. Build your house within the business and launch it as hard as you can. Take the three method I've always emphasized about. Take the pilot, probate, and launch approach. You pilot it to new audiences, you probate it to expand the value of what these people gain from what you are offering, and then you launch it aggressively to reach the wider market. Those are the three safe ways to start any business. That's in case you're listening to this message and you don't have your own business at all. Take the pilot, probate, and launch approach, and I promise you, you would come out on top of this whole thing. Now, for those that, I think, yes, I remember someone asked a question yesterday as regarding not starting but investing. Yes. Now, in case you don't want to start the business, you don't want to go to it yourself, we underestimate our network. There's that one person that is into this business model on our platform, on our statuses, on our profile, on our social media handles that we can choose to partner with. And when I mean partner, I mean it's simple. Let's say, for example, you have a friend called Derek, right? So Derek is into the sales of let's see, what does men usually like eating? Noodle combos, right? It's noodle combos as egg, some spices in it, and all of that. You have a friend that is into noodles combo, right? So whenever you partner with him, it gives you noodles, egg, and a lot of things that just makes you easy to prepare a simple dish, and then you're okay. And you have a friend like that, beautiful. Now you can ask him that, friend, what do you need to expand this thing? I noticed you've been doing now for about a year plus or two, and I noticed that you've grown from just only a particular brand to multiple brands, and you're able to now keep consistent. Now, before you're doing only 1 day delivery, now you're doing everyday delivery, and this is a level of growth. I want to partner with you, but it's because I want to grow my money. I want to be able to generate certain return on investments in a yearly basis, and I want to diversify my portfolio. How can I come in, right? Ask that friend. Let him or her pitch to you. If it's Derek, as I've mentioned, Derek is going to pitch to you and tell you how he or she can take your money and achieve results. Now, you can test Derek with substantial amounts. Derek says he needs 2 million naira to boost what he's doing. Why don't you give Derek 500,000 first and see what Derek does with that money? And then, but it should be a safe investment, right? You know that, because investing in people is risky, right? But if it pays out, you could just be looking at the next millionaire yourself, being you particularly, right? So, Derek, what will you need? Okay, let me give 500,000 and let's see what you convert that to. And then after 1 or 2 years, again, you had something to it if you're convinced with what Derek is doing. Now, but if it's not even Derek, look at your friend. A lot of us have network within. So in case you don't think you can do it yourself, you can always partner with someone to do it. Don't be greedy, don't be selfish. The agriculture sector needs a lot of players, and you can be part of that player that makes it work. And that is the truth, right? It's very, very key. Don't always think that because you can't do it yourself means that you can't support someone else to do it. You can always and always support someone to do better and expand. You see, the food value chain is something that would never go down. And as long as you can think strategically, you would always be in business, because people will always be eating food. All you just need to ask is, do they trust me enough to provide the service to them? Is my price competitive enough for them to buy from me? Once all these questions are there, you would get your answer. So as I said, is there any question you want to ask about buying and selling in the agricultural sector or outside the sector, and there's something you're scared of, a concept you want to understand more about, you can ask in the call messages. Should, in case you're going to be looking at this video post live session, you can always use the comment section to ask it, or you can slide into my direct message and ask, and I will be more than glad to answer your question. It's been a nice session today, and just like that, it's 12:42 already, and I will be wrapping up all of this talk right away. So if there's any question, this is the best time to drop it, or if you don't have a question, or you want to say something else, you could drop that in the call messages. Business takes deliberate effort, and except you put that effort in, you will not see results. And don't forget that consistency is how you win the race. The race is not about you starting so fast so early and then giving up later. No, the race is you taking that speed that you started with, maintain it, and going forward. Once you can start at 2 miles per second or kilometer per hour, whatever the case is, then you gradually improve it till it becomes bigger and better, right? Your opponent is running 5 kilometers per hour, and that's how your opponent has been winning for a while. Then you want to increase it to 6. You want to try and build yours to 6 or 7. Knowing fully your opponent is not sleeping, he or she is all equally building his or her own strengths. You have to do the same thing on your own quarters as much as possible. Thank you, Kenny, for your comments. Thank you, DJ, for your comments. Thank you for the support and the presence as much as possible. So with that stated, thank you everyone for being part of today. Tomorrow is the last day in the 3 days or 3 overlook agribusiness that you could pick up as an opportunity that is guaranteed to give you 30 to 50% return on investment annually. So if you build your business, we'll be touching that tomorrow, and then look at even more and more on that. With that stated, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.